What does a man do when he has a YouTube series called Breaking Bags and has no bags to break? Well, we have to break the rules. So, welcome to Breaking Bags, episode 7, with no bags to break. I'm so glad that this is a video series because what I get to show you today is one piece of reference work that I ran across earlier today that is an incredible piece of reference work for anybody who is going to build or has an interest in the Douglas or McDonnell Douglas, however you want to put it, A-4 Skyhawk from around the world. And actually, it's called Douglas A-4 Skyhawk around the world. You should see it here shared on your screen. So I ran across this on Facebook and I thought, these things you usually find on Facebook are probably pieces of junk, maybe 2 or 3 pages. Somebody put their own artwork together and really wasn't done very well. But I dug into this one and it was being shared on a number of A-4 Skyhawk enthusiasts and operators pages. So I went ahead and took the plunge for a whopping $27 and ordered this product. Now, I thought that it would probably take me a couple of days to actually get the download and be able to bring it up on a screen or whatnot. But instantaneously, the internet produced for me a link that I could download a PDF document that is probably one of the most incredible publications that I've seen in electronic format, apart from the Detail and Scale series that Bert Kinsey and his crew over there at Detail and Scale produce. So I am not going to show you this entire document because that would violate copyright rules, but I am going to show you some examples of it so that you can get a little bit of a view of what this ebook, if you will, has to offer. And on the screen, you can see just an example of it right here. It's very well produced, professionally done. The artwork is incredible. Right on the cover, we can call it the cover because this is the cover page. You can even see down to the rivets some of the artwork here. So I'm going to expand this and just kind of give you a blow up view of it. Check that out. I mean, you can see they went through the effort of putting all the rivets in place. And from what I've been able to tell, pulled up a couple of pictures, and these rivets are in the right place and the real thing. And so it's got all the little veins, the little pieces, bumps and lumps and everything that are necessary for the A-4 Skyhawk. So this is an incredible bit of artwork, first of all, but it's also a wonderful reference series. So it is in a book format, and it's called Douglas A-4 Skyhawk Around the World by Art in Profiles. And I'll put a link in where you can go and get this, but if not, you can email this one right here, agartenprofiles@gmail.com, and be able to gain access to it yourself. Here's the websites down here. Now, these are some pretty big websites, but this comes from a gentleman out of Brazil, and it has the author's name is Alexandre Guedes. And I apologize, I am not a native speaker of Portuguese, which is typically the language in Brazil. So we'll assume that that's Portuguese, but I've given it a shot. So it has an ISBN number. So this is a real book. This isn't something that's just kind of thrown together and some guy put out on a website. You can also notice that's very nice over here because it's got who it's licensed to on the side here. So if I were to send this to one of you, for example, it would identify that you had a stolen copy of it. So let's not do that. Let's not download one copy and share it with the 10 people in your IPMS club or something. It's only $27, folks. A couple of Starbucks coffees, one model, or in that case, quite honestly, a half a model is what it costs, and it's very well worth it. So let's take a look at a couple of things as examples. So you can see that the photography inside of here is some incredibly clear and colorful photography. This is essentially page 1 or one of the early cover pieces. Now, this is either an Argentine or a Brazilian Skyhawk, which kind of gives us an idea of what we're going to see inside of this publication. what's really cool about this is we actually get to see some of the modern aspects. A lot of the folks that have produced these things for the Skyhawk did so 20, 30, 40 years ago, and they've never really been updated. Well, the Skyhawk still flies today, and so this is a modern reference for the Skyhawk. So here's our content: presentation, technical characteristics. It goes through operators, profiles, and then a wonderful walk around section, which is 80, or it's on page 80. It's the profiles that are somewhere around 50, 60, 70 pages in length, which is wonderful. And I'll show you a couple of them in a moment. But the presentation is the word aspect here, the reading aspect, and it gives a nice history of the Skyhawk. Talks about some variants and technical specifications here of the Skyhawk. Again, some very beautiful pictures of modern Skyhawks. This is a Brazilian Skyhawk here, and then it digs into the operators and pulls up some photos from the past, but again pulls up more photos from the current with the Skyhawks. So here we go. Now I'm going to jump ahead because I don't want to break any rules with the copyright, but I do want you to see this. Look at these profiles. These are wonderful profiles, about 60, 70 pages of artwork that's like this. And we'll very quickly scroll through some of these. But what I like is they start out at the A4D1 and work our way all the way through. And there you go, speed, because I don't want to break any copyright rules, but all the way through. US operators, they have top views, they have side views. Again, all sorts of U.S. operations piece here. They got this wonderful section here with the Blue Angels piece, which is 1980, Bureau number 154983. And again, this one you can see the detail with all the access panels, accurately done with the slats here. And remember, we've talked about the Skyhawk on previous scenarios where these slats are dropped on normal Skyhawks by gravity. Well, in the Blue Angel version, they are in the always up position. Use the crank arrow, as we call it, refueling probe instead of the straight refueling probe. So excellent artwork throughout here, and just squadron after squadron after squadron of U.S. Artwork. And it continues on and continues on. There we go with some two-seater artwork, the TA4Js. I mean, the artwork in this is just amazing. And I know what they did is they created one and then they added things. But look at this. They didn't just add, they didn't just say, hey, let's put the artwork for VT7, USS Forrestal 1990 in with USS TW3, Training Wing 3, Lexington 1986 here. You'll notice they also added all the proper aerials and kind of did their detail. You see the detail up here with, I'm going to zoom in on this. You see right here, you see the pitot tube there. And then you slide down. There's no pitot tube here because they did their research on the particular aircraft. And are they perfect? I don't know. There's a tail drag bump there. There's none there. There's little tabs here. Look, there's that third tab right there. So they've got really, really into the detail of this artwork. This is another aerial right there and there, but none there. So you can see they've dug well into the detail on this. They didn't just create one profile and then turn it over and say, okay, we're going to put colors on every single one of them. That's not what they've done. They've done an incredible detail of work here and just popped out at me right away. Really enjoyed getting into some of the non-U.S. operators. Here's the Argentine birds from the Malvinas, Falklands situation, multiples of those, and then switching over to their more modern, the A-4 ARs, which are the A-4Ms that have been rebuilt for Argentina, former U.S. Marine Corps. They've got Australian birds, and again, Brazilian birds, including this beautiful color one. If you've got the Hasegawa kit, they produced the decals for that one. And then on down, keep on going and keep on going. Just pages. Indonesia's Skyhawks, which have that Israeli aircraft industry tailpiece there. Again, they didn't just paint it up like Indonesia and throw on the tailpiece. They made it exactly like it's supposed to look. Israeli aircraft here. This is some early A4Es, and then we move to the A4E with the extended tailpipe. We can get into all that, why that exists at a later point. And then the Kuwaiti birds, which actually are the ones that became the Brazilian aircraft, and keep on going. The Malaysians and so on and so forth down the line. The Kiwi birds from New Zealand. Singapore here, they've got, well, there's their version of the Blue Angels. They call them the Black Knights. And I'm pretty sure I saw this in here. And I know, again, I'm moving fast on this for a reason. But oh, yes, here's this very unique aircraft here, this twin-seater that they used. No one's ever modeled that. I would love to find a model of that at some point, but no one's ever modeled that. But then we get into this piece here. This is awesome. These are nice detail shots of the A4s, modern A4s, the AF-1B and the AF-1C of the Brazilian Air Force, or Brazilian Navy, I'm sorry, the Brazilian Navy. And these look to have been taken probably within the last few years. Very nice detail shots of slats down, of the paint and repaints that are on the weathering, if you will, that are on these A4s. Again, these A4s were former Kuwaiti birds, but really, really nice pictures of how well they've been taken care of, weapons that they were carrying for training purposes, and so on and so forth, right down. And what I want to do is I want to get down to, here we go, dealing with the cockpit. Check this out. These are modern cockpits on these A4s. These are not what you would see in a Vietnam bird. And this is kind of important because, like I said, all the other references that are out there are references that show the aircraft when it was operational with the United States or some of the other air forces with analog and not digital assets. But we've got a nice HUD system here that, and these digital panels here for this upgraded cockpit that are really nice. And it would be important if you were building a Brazilian or possibly even one of the Argentinian birds. We'd have to double check to find out. And then a nice profile about the author. And so if you're building an A4 Skyhawk of any kind, this would be a wonderful piece to add for simple $27 to your reference shelf. But more importantly is it gives you that modern look of what's going on with the Skyhawk currently down in Brazil and Argentina, and what they look like with here in the cockpit and other spaces. So hopefully this has been a nice breaking bags review that didn't even have crinkling plastic bags to break. All right, onward and upward. Enjoy building your Skyhawks.